Hello, my name is Sophia, and if you ask me what I love the most in this world, I won't say family, I won't say friends, I won't even say love. I will say money. Yes, money has always been my greatest love, my only passion, my one true obsession. From the very beginning of my life, I realized something different about myself. When other little girls were playing with dolls, I was counting the coins my father left on the table. When my cousins were busy in games, I was standing near shops, watching people buy things, imagining that one day I would have enough money to buy everything I wanted. I was born in a small town. My family was not poor, but we were never rich either. My parents worked hard, but money always seemed to slip away like water through fingers. Sometimes I would hear my mother whispering to my father late at night about unpaid bills. Sometimes I saw my father's eyes filled with stress when he couldn't buy new shoes for me. Those moments, they shaped me. They planted a seed inside my heart. A seed of hunger. A hunger for money. I remember once, when I was only 7 years old, my mother asked me, "Sophia, what do you want to become when you grow up?" Other children would say doctor or teacher or nurse. But me? I looked into her eyes and said, "I want to be rich, Mama. I want to have so much money that I never cry for anything." She laughed at first, thinking it was just a child's silly dream. But I was not joking. I meant it with every single breath inside me. Growing up, I noticed how people respect money more than love. I saw relatives who only came to visit us when my father had a little extra to spend. I saw friends who disappeared the moment we had nothing to offer. That was my first lesson. In this world, money is not just paper, it is power, it is security, it is respect. And from that day, I promised myself I will never beg anyone for love. I will never cry for attention. I will never wait for people to accept me. I will earn money. I will earn so much money that one day, the whole world will turn its head when they hear my name. Yes, I was only a child when I made this promise to myself. But this promise, it became my heartbeat. When other girls wrote diaries about crushes, I wrote about my dreams of wealth. When others saved small gifts from friends, I saved coins in a hidden box under my bed. My treasure box. I remember opening it every night, counting those coins again and again, feeling like the richest girl alive. But that was only the beginning. As I grew into a teenager, my love for money grew stronger, sharper, deeper. It was no longer just a dream. It became my obsession, my reason to wake up every morning. I didn't care about fairy tales. I didn't care about romantic stories. My only fairy tale was to see myself surrounded by gold, by luxury, by endless treasures. And believe me, I was ready to sacrifice anything to make that dream come true. When I entered my teenage years, life began to change, and so did I. While other girls were busy talking about love letters, secret crushes, and friendship bracelets, I was busy making plans. Plans not about love, not about marriage, but about money. Always money. I remember sitting in class and watching my friends giggle over a boy who wrote a sweet poem for one of them. But me? I would just smile and think, poems don't pay bills. Flowers don't buy houses. Love doesn't fill your pockets. And every time I saw those girls crying when their little romances broke apart, I felt stronger. Because I knew I was different. My heart didn't break over love. My heart only ached for wealth. At the age of 15, I took my first step. I started selling small handmade crafts in school, bracelets, cards, even snacks. While my classmates thought it was just a hobby, for me it was my first business. my little empire. Every coin I earned gave me power, gave me joy, gave me a reason to live. But slowly, something else started happening. I began to lose interest in people. My friends would ask me to hang out, but I would refuse if there was no profit for me. My family would try to talk to me about dreams, love, or kindness, but I would only listen if it had something to do with money. If it didn't, I would shut my ears. I still remember a moment that changed me completely. I was 16, and one of my closest friends came to me crying. She was heartbroken because a boy had cheated on her. She needed comfort, a shoulder to cry on. But instead of giving her comfort, I gave her advice. I told her, "Why are you crying for him? He gave you nothing. If you want to cry, cry for money, because only money can give you security, not love." She looked at me with shock in her eyes, as if I was heartless. And maybe I was. Maybe I had already lost the ability to feel the way normal girls feel. But in my mind, I was only being honest. Because deep inside, I truly believed love was weak, but money was strong. As I moved toward adulthood, my hunger for wealth grew more dangerous. I stopped caring about birthdays, friendships, even my own family's emotions. My mother once told me, "Sophia, you are forgetting who you are. Money is important, but it cannot hug you at night. It cannot wipe your tears. It cannot love you back." But I laughed. I actually laughed at her words. I said, "Mama, maybe you never had enough money to understand. But when I will have it, I won't need anyone to hug me. I won't need anyone to wipe my tears. I won't need anyone at all." That was me, a teenage girl already blinded by the shining image of wealth. By 18, I had already started working small jobs. I didn't care if they were tiring. I didn't care if people judged me. All I cared about was seeing my wallet grow thicker. I worked late hours, skipped family dinners, avoided friends, just to earn a little more each day. I wasn't just chasing money. I was worshiping it. And the truth is, I loved the way it made me feel. Every time I touched those bills, I felt alive. Every time I saved a new note in my drawer, I felt powerful. I felt untouchable. But little did I know, my greed was slowly building a wall around me. A wall that would keep love out, keep happiness out, keep life out. And by the time I realized it, I was already too far inside to come back. By the time I stepped into my 20s, I was no longer that little girl counting coins under her bed. I had stepped into the real world, and the world welcomed me with two faces: opportunity and cost. At the age of 21, I found my first real job in the city. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't easy, but it was the start of something bigger. I worked in a small company, doing tasks that most people would call boring, exhausting, meaningless. But to me, every extra hour I worked, every extra penny I earned, was like a jewel shining in my treasure box. I became obsessed. I stopped thinking about weekends. I stopped thinking about holidays. For me, life became one single mission: earn, save, grow, repeat. And it worked. Slowly, my salary grew. Slowly, my savings grew. And with that, my pride grew too. I started buying things I had only dreamed of as a child: a new phone, beautiful clothes, even jewelry. For the first time in my life, I felt like I was not that small-town girl anymore. I felt powerful. But the truth is, power always comes with a price. My family began to feel my absence. My mother would call me again and again, asking me to come home for dinner. But I always had one answer: "I'm busy, Mama. I'm working. I'll come later." Later never came. My father would remind me to take care of my health. He would tell me, Sophia, money is endless, but your body is not. Take rest. But I laughed at him too, just like I laughed at my mother before. Because to me, rest was a waste of time. Time was money, and I could not waste money. Even my friends started to disappear. They would invite me to birthdays, weddings, or just a simple cup of coffee. But I would refuse. Why? Because in my mind, if an hour didn't bring me profit, it wasn't worth spending. And love? Love had no place in my world. I still remember one man who truly cared for me. He wanted to marry me. He wanted to give me a life filled with laughter, comfort, and companionship. He used to say, Sophia, I don't have much, but I have love. And I want to share it with you. But do you know what I told him? I said, love cannot buy me a home. Love cannot buy me security. Love cannot make me rich. I don't want your love. I want money. He walked away with tears in his eyes. And me? I didn't even look back, because I believed I had made the right choice. But somewhere, deep inside, a small whisper began to rise. A question. What if you are wrong, Sophia? What if love is worth more than money? I silenced that whisper with the sound of coins dropping into my bank account. I built a career. I built wealth. But brick by brick, I was tearing down something else. My connections, my relationships, my emotions. There were nights when I came home late, exhausted, surrounded by expensive things, yet feeling strangely empty. I told myself, it's okay, Sophia. This emptiness will go away when you earn more. But it never really went away. And then, the biggest sacrifice came. One winter, my mother fell sick. Very sick. She needed me. She wanted me to sit beside her, hold her hand, comfort her. But I was too busy. I was chasing a promotion, chasing another step toward wealth. I told her on the phone, Mama, I can't come now. I'll come when things settle. But things never settled. And one night, the call came. She was gone. I had money. I had clothes. I had luxury. But I didn't have her. And no amount of money in the world could buy her back. That night, I sat in my expensive apartment, surrounded by everything I thought I wanted, and cried. For the first time in years, I cried not for money, but for love I had lost forever. But even then, I didn't stop. I told myself, Sophia, don't be weak. Don't lose focus. You wanted money, and you will keep earning it. You cannot go back now. Yes, I kept going. But from that day forward, I knew every coin I earned was stained with sacrifice. Years passed, and my bank account grew thicker. My apartment grew larger, my wardrobe richer. On the outside, I was the picture of success. But on the inside, I was becoming a stranger to myself. I had everything I once dreamed of, branded clothes, glittering jewelry, a shiny car, and enough money to never worry about bills again. People looked at me with admiration, some with jealousy. They thought I was the happiest woman alive. But they didn't know the truth. Behind closed doors, when I walked into my empty apartment, silence screamed louder than any applause. I had no one waiting for me, no one to ask how my day was, no one to sit with me at dinner. I tried to drown the silence with more money. Shopping, traveling, working longer hours. But the silence, it followed me everywhere. One evening, I attended a party filled with businessmen and wealthy families. Everyone was smiling, laughing, showing off their riches. I should have felt at home there. I should have felt proud. But instead, for the first time, I felt like a shadow among them. Why? Because when I looked around, I noticed something strange. These people were not happy because of money. They were happy because they were surrounded by love, by children holding their hands, by partners standing beside them, by friends sharing memories. I had none of that. That night, when I returned home, I looked into the mirror. My reflection stared back at me, a woman dressed in luxury, painted with success, but with eyes that looked empty, lonely, lost. And then the voice returned. The voice I had silenced years ago. Sophia, what if you were wrong? What if money was never enough? What if love was the one thing you truly needed? I tried to fight it. I told myself, no, I chose money and I'm stronger than feelings. I don't need anyone. I don't need love. But deep inside, I knew I was lying to myself. Days turned into weeks and that emptiness grew heavier. At work, I began to lose focus. Even though I was earning more than ever, it felt meaningless. Numbers in a bank account no longer gave me joy. Shopping no longer filled the void. My laughter sounded fake. One afternoon, as I walked down the street, I saw something that shook me. A young couple sitting on a bench, sharing an ice cream. They had nothing fancy, simple clothes, no jewelry, no luxury. But the way they looked at each other, the way they laughed together, it was priceless. For the first time in my life, I envied love more than wealth. I stood there, frozen, watching them, realizing how poor I truly was. Poor in emotions. Poor in relationships. Poor in the things that actually mattered. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept asking myself, Sophia, what did you do? You chased money, but in the process, you lost everything else. You sacrificed love, family, friendship, and now, what do you have left? Yes, I had money, but money didn't hold me when I cried. Money didn't wipe my tears. Money didn't say, I love you. It was at that moment. I realized I had been wrong my entire life. But here's the cruelest part. Realization often comes too late. I wanted to call my father, but he was gone too. I wanted to hug my mother, but she was already buried. I wanted to tell that man who once loved me that I was sorry, but he had already moved on, living happily with someone else. I had spent years climbing a ladder, only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. And now, I was standing at the top alone, with money in my hands, but emptiness in my heart. That was my turning point. The moment I understood that the love I rejected, the family I ignored, the friends I pushed away, those were the real treasures of life. Not money. But by the time I understood it, life had already taken them away from me. I am Sophia. And today, as I sit here, surrounded by everything money can buy, I finally understand the cruelest truth of my life. I gained the world of wealth, but I lost the world of love. People often dream of success, and they imagine that success is shiny, glamorous, filled with joy. But let me tell you, when success is built only on money and nothing else, it is not joy, it is emptiness wearing a golden mask. I wake up every morning in a soft bed, in a beautiful apartment, yet my heart feels heavy. I drink coffee from the most expensive cup, but the taste feels bitter. I drive my luxury car, but every ride feels like a journey to nowhere. Why? Because there is no one to share it with. Money gave me power, yes. It gave me respect in society, yes. But it also took away the warmth of my mother's hugs, the wisdom of my father's advice, the laughter of friends, and the tenderness of love. I traded all of that for numbers in a bank account. And now, when I look back, I realize those numbers can never smile at me. They can never sit beside me when I am sick. They can never say, "Don't worry, Sophia, I'm here." Sometimes, I sit by the window and watch the world outside. I see children running with laughter, couples walking hand in hand, families eating together. And I whisper to myself, Sophia, you had the chance. You could have had that too. But you chose money. Only money. Tears fall down my face, not because I am poor, but because I am rich in the wrong way. I am rich in gold, but poor in love. I am wealthy in things, but bankrupt in feelings. And here is the greatest irony. The very thing I thought would protect me from pain, money, became the reason for my deepest pain. I want to go back, to be that little girl again, to hug my mother, to laugh with my friends, to say yes to the man who loved me. But time is cruel. It only moves forward. It never gives us second chances. So I sit here alone, telling you my story. Not because I want your sympathy, but because I want to warn you. Do not make the mistake I made. Yes, money is important. We all need it. But when you make money your only love, your only goal, your only reason to live, you will lose everything else that truly matters. Love is priceless. Family is irreplaceable. Friendships are treasures. And once they are gone, no amount of money can bring them back. If my story teaches you anything, let it teach you this. Earn money, but never worship it. Chase success, but never sacrifice love for it. Build wealth, but don't let it cost you your soul. Because at the end of the day, when the lights go off, when the world turns silent, and when you are left alone with nothing but yourself, you will realize that money cannot hold you. Money cannot heal you. Money cannot love you. And without love, life is just an empty cage filled with gold. This is my story. The story of a girl who thought money was everything, only to discover it was nothing without love. I am Sophia, and this is my truth. Even after telling you my truth, my heart still carries so many unspoken words. So let me say them now. If you are listening to my story, then maybe you are younger than me. Maybe you are standing at the beginning of the same road I once walked. Maybe money is shining in your eyes the same way it once blinded mine. And that is why I want to leave you with this. Learn from me. Don't repeat my mistakes. Life is not about choosing between love and money. It is about balance. Money will give you comfort, yes, but love will give you meaning. And without meaning, comfort feels empty. When you sit with your parents, listen to them. Their words may not give you money, but they will give you wisdom. When a friend calls you, don't push them away. Their laughter may not fill your bank account, but it will fill your heart. When someone loves you truly, don't ignore it. Because the day may come when you will realize their love was the richest gift you ever had. Take it from me, Sophia, a woman who thought she was rich, but ended up poor in the things that matter most. If I had a chance to start over, I would still work hard. I would still earn money. But I would never let money silence my heart. I would never let it steal my relationships. I would never let it blind me to the beauty of love. So promise me this. When you chase your dreams, take your family with you. When you run after success, hold the hands of those who love you. And when you earn money, let it serve you, don't serve it. Because in the end, wealth is not measured by the numbers in your account. It is measured by the smiles around your table, the hands that hold yours, the memories that warm your heart. That is true richness. And I hope, my dear listener, that you become richer than I ever was. Not just in money, but in love.